Hello and welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the Fracture fairy tales that we looked at yesterday. I wanted to show a book to you guys. Let me pull a picture of it up real fast. Now, this is a book that I read when I was teaching fifth grade to my students. When I was teaching fifth grade I read it. And it's called The Rumpelstiltskin Problem. And some of you might be familiar with the story of Rumpelstiltskin. He comes and saves this girl by spinning a room full of hay into gold, which ends up allowing her to marry the prince. And I believe in the introduction to the book, the author mentions that they feel like there was a lot of problems with this story. And so they wrote several different versions of Rumpelstiltskin. Now, these weren't necessarily fractured fairy tales, because the fractured fairy tales typically have a comical ending. But it was a similar theme where they're taking a fairy tale and they're changing it. And each chapter of this book has a different version of the story of Rumpelstiltskin. So one of the things that I was kind of thinking about is if you and a friend picked the same fairy tale to write about, you might end up with slightly different versions of the story. And the way that this author makes different versions of the same story is they'll change something about the character, they'll change something about the setting, they'll change the conflict slightly, which is the problem in the story, or the resolution will come about in a slightly different way. Let's go ahead and switch over to what we're going to be looking at. Today we're going to be working on the next set of slides, and we want to plan our fractured fairy tale. Now, in the directions, it says to choose a fairy tale from the list on slide 2 to use for your own writing. Make sure to pick one that you already know. When you choose, decide what change you're going to make to the fairy tale. And then you can record those changes on the next slide. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I wanted to pick the story of the Emperor's New Clothes. The first thing is I would need to know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes. If you haven't heard of this story before, basically there's this emperor that he always has to be the best at everything, the smartest, the best looking, pretty much everything. And these clothers come to town and they say, "We will make you some clothing that only the wisest can see." And the emperor is so prideful that he acts like he can see the clothes when the person comes and they say, "Look at this outfit that I've made for you. Isn't it beautiful? Only the wisest can see it." And he says, "Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I would love to buy it." And other people, he puts it on, but he's not wearing anything. And he tells people only people that are wise can see these clothes, and everyone plays along with it. And they all say, "Oh yeah, they look great on you." And then finally, one person says, "You're naked. You're not wearing clothes. You're in your underwear." And people realize the king was kind of making a fool of himself. So I'm going to pick that one. And let's go ahead and take a look. So the title of my original fairy tale, I would write in The Emperor's New Clothes. And I'm going to change my title, and I have to think, what do I want to change? Well, one thing I know is I want to take place now. And my new title, let's see, what's something that we would have to impress other people with? I'm going to go with hoverboard. I'm going to go with The Emperor's New Hoverboard. Okay. My setting, that's where my story takes place. Let me go ahead and switch this over to my laser pointer. The setting is where the story takes place. And so my setting is going to be modern times, because setting is not just where, it's also when. And it can still be in a kingdom far away, but current. Okay. I need to think about my characters. I will still keep the emperor. I will still have a salesperson, but this person's going to be selling a hoverboard instead of the clothing. And my conflict and main problem are going to be similar, that the salesmen are selling some sort of fake hoverboard that's not actually a hoverboard. Maybe they're just shoes or something. And then my ending or solution to the problem is going to be just about the same, where everyone's going to realize he doesn't actually have a hoverboard. So this is just me planning it out. I don't have all the details. I don't know what the dialogue is going to be. That's what the characters are saying. I don't know exactly how I'm going to describe my characters yet. I can plan that out a little bit more in my characters section. And for the sake of this video, I'm just giving you a very general format. So you can get into a little more detail. The more detail that you know, the easier it'll be to write. And you don't even have to necessarily include all of your details when you're writing. That's where revising comes in. You might say, well, they don't really need to know this about the character, even though I already have it planned, but it might help you as the author know more about your characters. And so that'll be helpful. Now, just looking ahead, tomorrow we're going to be actually writing it, and it's already started with Once Upon a Time for us. There's a spot for our title, but we're not going to start writing yet. We just want to get the idea going. A lot of times it's good to let these ideas kind of sit with us, get some space. And that's why I don't want you writing today. Even if you have some extra time, wait till tomorrow to start your story, okay? And take your time when you write your story. It might take longer than the time that we have when we're actually writing, and that's okay. Just do your best. I want you to like the story that you're producing more than anything. Because if you like the story, then it becomes something else. It's not just an assignment that you're turning into me. I really want you to take ownership, make this your project. Okay? Well, good luck with planning your fairy tale. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. I always see these wonderful creative ideas whenever we do this project in 3rd grade. And so I am really excited. I wish I had more examples. I wish I had more time to talk about it with you. I really miss being there with you guys, hearing your ideas as you come up with them, helping you try to come up with some problems. If you do get stuck and you're trying to come up with some ideas, talk to somebody. Let them know what you're trying to write about and even the problem that you're running into. I do this all the time with my wife. I'll come up to her and I'll tell her issues I'm having. I remember once I wrote a story about a blue squirrel, and the blue squirrel was an astronaut, and I had to figure out why was the blue squirrel an astronaut. And so we talked about it, and it just really helps. So reach out to those around you if you get stuck. Know that I miss you guys. I'm excited to see what you create. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I will see you again tomorrow, where we will create wonderful fractured fairy tales. Until then, stay safe and have some fun. Bye.